We have two leaders of our two great countries who are very good friends and who are very focused on how we can strengthen those shared objectives and those shared interests.
Just today, Tulsi Gabbard said that Putin and Trump are, quote, very good friends.
Now, what you heard there was Stephanie Ruhle, the host of MSNBC's show, The 11th Hour. And she made a statement that the Director of National Intelligence, Tulsi Gabbard, stated while doing an interview on an Indian network that President Trump and Vladimir Putin are good friends. There's only one problem with what Stephanie Ruhle said, and that is it is a complete lie and a total fabrication. Not only that, Stephanie Ruhle from the 11th Hour show, guest host Ali from Lawrence O'Donnell's show, The Last Word, and the Associated Press have been forced to publicly give an embarrassing apology and retract everything they said. Now, before I get into those clips showing you the embarrassing way that they had to retract their statements, I want to give a little bit of background. Matter of fact, better than me giving it, I'm going to show you this clip of Tulsi Gabbard, where she helps enlighten us to what it is that we're looking at right now and what we can expect when it comes to the lamestream media and her name. Check this clip out.
Before I close, I want to warn the American people who are watching at home. You may hear lies and smears in this hearing that'll challenge my loyalty to and my love for our country. Those who oppose my nomination imply that I am loyal to something or someone other than God, my own conscience, and the Constitution of the United States, accusing me of being Trump's puppet, Putin's puppet, Assad's puppet, a guru's puppet, Modi's puppet, not recognizing the absurdity of simultaneously being the puppet of 5 different puppet masters. The same tactic was used against President Trump and failed. The American people elected President Trump with a decisive victory and mandate for change. The fact is, what truly unsettles my political opponents is I refuse to be their puppet.
So that is exactly what Tulsi Gabbard said during her interview with the Indian network. She just started off stating that, hey, you know, we have two great leaders that turn out to be good friends. And what MSNBC chose to do, they decided to report that as President Trump and Putin being good friends, and that Tulsi Gabbard stated this. Now, think about all of the people that watch MSNBC blindly. As a matter of fact, you have to be blind or something has to be wrong with you to watch MSNBC and believe what they say anyway. The only reason I ever look at anything that comes out of MSNBC or MSDNC is for reporting on stories like this, because other than that, any sane person watching that network, it'll drive you crazy with all the lies that they spill. But they feed this out, and look at the extremes that we have happening. You got folks shooting into dealerships, messing up and vandalizing people's vehicles, not even realizing if they're really a actual Democrat and a Kamala Harris supporter or a left-wing extremist libtard. These people don't even care. They're just attacking anything that resembles something that they disagree with. And that's where society is, but it's changing now because you have people like yourself, you have people like myself that is no longer playing into the delusion. And MSNBC is a huge part of that delusion. As a matter of fact, let's check out this article, and then I'm going to get into those video clips. But check out this article from the Daily Mail. MSNBC host forced to apologize live on air over false Tulsi Gabbard claims. MSNBC host Stephanie Ruhle was forced to apologize to Tulsi Gabbard after falsely claiming the Director of National Intelligence praised the good friendship between Donald Trump and Vladimir Putin. Appearing on the 11th Hour show on Tuesday, Ruhle delivered the apology live on air after repeating what Gabbard's office called literal fake news during the previous episode. Last night, we reported on excerpts of an interview between the Director of National Intelligence, Tulsi Gabbard, and an Indian TV news network in which she said that Trump was good friends with world leader, Ruhle said. We said that world leader was Vladimir Putin. The full interview shows that Gabbard was referring to Trump and Indian Prime Minister Modi. We've cleared that up. Guest host Ali Velshi made a similar apology during an episode of The Last Word. Their apologies followed the Associated Press deleting erroneous reporting in a story by David Klepper titled, Gabbard says Trump and Putin are very good friends focused on strengthening ties. The report was changed to remove the false statement with the editor's note. The story was updated on March 17, 2025 to delete erroneous reporting that U.S. Director of National Intelligence Tulsi Gabbard said President Donald Trump and Russian President Vladimir Putin are good friends. All right, so matter of fact, let me just get into, because who Gabbard was actually talking about, she wasn't talking about Trump and Putin. She was actually talking about Trump and the Indian Prime Minister, Narendra Modi. The outlet has since added to the bottom of the article. Matter of fact, check out these apologies that they had to give. And then I'll come back with a little bit of commentary.
Last night, we reported on excerpts of an interview between the Director of National Intelligence, Tulsi Gabbard, and an Indian TV news network, in which she said that Trump was good friends with a world leader. We said that world leader was Vladimir Putin, but the full interview shows that Gabbard was referring to Trump and Indian Prime Minister Modi. Clear that up.
Last night, the last word reported on excerpts of an interview between the Director of National Intelligence, Tulsi Gabbard, and an Indian TV news network in which she said Trump was good friends with the world leader. Now, we said that world leader was Vladimir Putin, but the full interview was subsequently released, and it showed that Gabbard was referring to Donald Trump and the Indian Prime Minister, Narendra Modi.
If you're enjoying the video, do me a solid, hit that like button. I'll never ask you for a cash app and I'll never ask you for a super chat, but you hitting that like button, it really, really does help the channel. It helps spread the information out. And if you aren't subscribed to the channel, subscribe. And once you hit the subscribe button, hit the notification bell and select all. That way you'll be notified when I upload new videos. So let's think about this for a second. The fact that they put this out there without vetting the story, without even watching the entire video clip. As a matter of fact, here's a clip of what Tulsi Gabbard actually says during the interview. Check this clip out.
See a new administration coming in with President Trump's leadership in the United States. Of course, Prime Minister Modi's longstanding leadership here in India. We have two leaders of our two great countries who are very good friends and who are very focused on how we can strengthen those shared objectives and those shared interests.
So in a sense, it's taking forward what we already have in terms of the strategic partnership. And that's one of your primary goals, right?
It is.
And how were your meetings to that end?
It is. I've been having great meetings. And of course, this began with Prime Minister Modi's visit to President Trump in Washington, D.C., very shortly after he was inaugurated back into office for a second term, where they really set the tone and set the vision for where a stronger U.S.-India partnership and friendship can lead to. And so my visit here is really predicated on the work that has already been done. And I've been having great conversations with my counterparts here in the Indian government. I just met with the Minister of Defense a few minutes ago and looking forward to visiting with Prime Minister Modi here later today.
So how in the world can anybody out of watching that clip get Tulsi Gabbard saying, Director Gabbard saying that President Trump and Vladimir Putin are good friends? Nowhere in it does it even come remotely close. And this really has to hopefully get people to open their eyes and realize if they lied about something like this, something so obvious where there's actual video to be able to be reviewed. If they did that with this, imagine all of the other stuff with the so-called anonymous sources. And think about why they do the anonymous sources part. They do the anonymous sources to keep themselves from being held liable. And then they try to hide behind journalistic integrity when they say, oh, I'm not going to reveal my sources because it's journalistic integrity. And so they constantly throw, oh, this was source from within the campaign, this source around the organization. And that source could just be somebody on their staff who's a left-wing libtard extremist that just wants to insert themselves and give their opinion on how they feel something should go rather than the actual facts. This is a perfect example. And these shows, these networks should be taken off the air. These shows should be taken off the air because I get First Amendment, free speech and all of that. But when you have a megaphone, and that's what I consider these platforms, megaphones that touch millions of people, well, not MSNBC anymore. Luckily, their ratings are in the tank. So, you know, there's more people that probably watch my channel on a monthly basis than watch their freaking network. But at the same time, you still have some of these radical people that take it, see it, clip it up and throw it out there. And nobody's going to clip up and put it out there with the retraction and the apologies. You know, the presentation is always grandiose and humongous and, you know, first page on Google and, you know, first page in the newspapers are on all the blogs and all of the social media platforms. But the retractions come in the middle of the night, small paragraph on page 107 of the newspaper, in a very short, small social media post from some staffer's account that nobody even knows who they are, where it flies right under the radar. But they've been busted. And MSNBC has been getting hit left and right. They don't publicize all of the lawsuits, just like on The View. The show The View is facing so many suits right now. So many suits, because it's just blatant lies and propaganda. What Stephanie Ruhle and Ali said were flat out lies. No other way around it. As propaganda at its finest. And MSNBC should be penalized. I have to pay a fine for that, or, you know, have that freaking their shows taken off the air if they can't be honest. What do we have an FCC for? If they just let people just blatantly get on there, misconstrue stuff, screw stuff up. that could negatively affect the people. But hey, listen, it is what it is. But if you're watching still right now to this point, I greatly appreciate you. And if you haven't already, like the video, share the video, subscribe to the channel. I'm Brian Maxwell saying I look forward to seeing you at the top. Over and out, y'all.